everyone. Hope you're having a good weekend. I'm not feeling the best, so sorry if I sound a little, not the greatest. But there's so much to talk about. I wanted to cover it in a video yesterday, but like I said, I wasn't feeling well, so I'm gonna try to just cover it quickly today. A lot happening in the past 48 hours, which I'm sure you're all aware of. But first, let's just start off with a positive note. It seems like we already know what Henry Cavill, a new venture for him, will be, since we know, unfortunately, sadly, devastatingly, he will not be moving forward as Superman in this new DC universe, since it seems they probably will be doing a full hard reboot after Aquaman 2. He will be executive producing and starring in a live action adaptation for Warhammer 40,000 series on Amazon. So I'm not familiar with this universe, but it is like a sci-fi fantasy horror thing that Henry Cavill has actually shared a lot about in his personal life. He's very interested in it. He's talked about painting the miniature figures, and um, it's a war game, miniature war game. So this is something he takes personal interest in, and he will be working on it, partnering up with his girlfriend Natalie Viscuso, and they're going to be working on this at Amazon. He posted on his Instagram about this new project. He said, "For 30 years, I have dreamt of seeing a Warhammer universe in live action. Now, after 22 years of experience in the industry, I finally feel that I have the skill set and experience to guide a Warhammer cinematic universe into life. Partnering with Natalie Viscuso at Vertigo has been a blessing beyond words. Without her, we might not have found the perfect home at Amazon. And having a home like Amazon will give us the freedom to be true to the massive scope of Warhammer. To all of you Warhammer fans out there, I promise to respect the IP that we love. I promise to bring you something familiar, and I endeavor to bring you something fantastic that is, as of yet, unseen. Our first steps are to find our filmmaker, creator, writer. Watch this space, my friends, for the Emperor." And Natalie Viscuso, his girlfriend, had also posted about it as well. So I'm really happy for him. I mean, it's really sad, like I said, what's been happening as far as the change about him not being Superman anymore. But I'm happy that he's going to be able to do something. And now he's going to be executive producing, which is a new, a new role for him to experience as well. So I'm happy for him that he gets to do that, and something that he has a really strong personal interest and passion for as well. Now, speaking of Henry Cavill and Superman, another thing that has been talked about over the past 24 hours is that the Wonder Woman and Superman cameos in The Flash have been cut. I don't think this should come as any surprise, given what we have learned over the past couple of days about the DC universe, and that it seems they will be doing a reboot after Aquaman 2. But that there is potential for some of the current cast members to maybe play different roles in the future. I don't know if that's true yet, but it does seem like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman cameo and Henry Cavill's Superman cameo from The Flash, which he just filmed not too long ago, will not be appearing in The Flash. Like I said, it's unfortunate, but it makes sense given what we have been finding out over the past couple of days. And like James Gunn said, they're going to be sharing more of their slate in pretty recent, like the new year, the beginning of the new year. They're going to be sharing some more details. And so it just, it sucks that we won't get to see Gal Gadot, because at least we would have been able to see her again in that movie. But I think it's going to be really, from all the comments that I've seen and how I feel personally, it's going to be hard to feel any kind of excitement towards any of the DC movies coming out next year. Now that we know they're going to reboot after, I think it would sit better with fans if they had a proper, respectful send-off for the people, for the current universe before they rebooted, instead of just like throwing everyone away with no exit. You know what I mean? Like, I think fans would take better to it and be more open-minded and optimistic about the rebooted universe if they had a proper send-off for all of the Justice League members and the current cast members that we have seen over the years. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, all of them, like, have a proper send-off, and I think that would have the fans would be more receptive to them rebooting. Instead of having Henry Cavill announce his return, giving the fans the one thing we wanted the most, and then taking it away and humiliating him in the process, like, it just would have been a much better way to go about it and more respectful to everyone involved. I just, yeah, it just seems like they're in such a hurry to reboot it after Aquaman 2 comes out, because the movies coming out next year are not under their leadership. But I feel like they could have at least given them a proper send off first. So it's kind of, I think that would have been a smarter way to go about it. Another thing that was being talked about was, it was floating around that Dwayne Johnson had unfollowed the Black Adam Instagram accounts and the Warner Brothers Discovery Instagram accounts. But he confirmed on Twitter last night that this is 100% not true. He never followed either account on Instagram. So I was originally going to talk about how he unfollowed them, but he confirmed that that's not true because he never followed them to begin with. But I'm sure he is just as upset about this whole Superman thing as the rest of us, and I'm sure he worries for the future of Black Adam, because part of the Hollywood Reporter article that everyone was getting riled up about, now those things are kind of starting to seem like they're going to be like they're coming true, a lot of it. And part of that article said that there might not be another Black Adam movie. And I can't say that I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make another one, because they're getting rid of everybody else. And it didn't, probably from the studio's perspective, it probably did not make the money that they wanted it to make, even though it was under the previous leadership. But especially after everything they went through to get Superman's cameo, I'm sure he is extremely upset about all of that whole situation. Speaking of that, it's also being said by the Hollywood Reporter again that Henry Cavill didn't have a contract to return as Superman. We did start hearing about that shortly after his return, but when it first started coming out, it kind of made sense to me, and that's what I was talking about on the channel, that how could they give him a contract so fast, not knowing what the future slate and plan was going to be. So it kind of made sense to me at the time. And this goes on to say that it was just a verbal agreement, not with Peter Safran and James Gunn, because they weren't in charge yet when the cameo got the green light, but that the verbal agreement was that the studio would develop future projects with Henry Cavill as Superman. And that's what the impression we were getting, right? Because he was excited to share more. He said it was just a taste of what's to come. And they allowed him to go on this press tour talking all about it. And Dwayne Johnson was talking about it a lot. So it makes it even more upsetting, because he took them at their word and they still just screwed him over, just because it wasn't in writing, which is, I understand, like, he didn't have a contract, but like I said, that was very fast. They had very little time to even film his cameo in the first place and get it put into the movie for release. But he took them at their word, and at that time, but whoever was involved in that meeting, the verbal agreement was that they would develop future projects. So I feel like, and this kind of confirms what I've been thinking, is that I feel like there was a change, because yes, David Zaslav is the one signing off on all of these things, all of these decisions. I feel like they initially maybe wanted Henry Cavill to continue, because I don't see why they would have allowed him to do the cameo, told him to announce his return and talk about it, but then change their mind with James Gunn's idea or Peter Safran, what they presented to them for what they want to do with the Superman movie. I feel like there was a change. I don't feel like they would have done that with Henry Cavill if they didn't already, like, I feel like there was a shift. I don't feel like their initial plan was to completely reboot and get rid of Henry Cavill. I feel like there was a change somewhere, because I don't think they could have just stuck with the faceless Superman cameo in Black Adam, or not done it at all. Instead of allowing Henry Cavill to filming a cameo for him for The Flash, you putting Ben Affleck back into Aquaman 2, which is we're probably not going to see that either, I'm guessing. Why would they do all that and push all of these movies so far back when they first when they first completed the merger, giving them notes about things to change. Um, like I said, putting Ben in Aquaman 2, letting Henry Cavill film a cameo for The Flash. Why would they do all that if they were going to reboot? That's why I feel like that wasn't their initial plan, because there wouldn't have been any point to do all that and to push the movie so far back. They could have just let them release when they were originally supposed to. The Flash would have already been out. Henry Cavill's Superman and Ben Affleck's Batman would have already been erased from the universe, because it seems true now that the Flash ending has not changed, because they're going to reboot. So I feel like there wouldn't have been a reason to do all that if they were just going to reboot from the start. I don't know if it was when they decided James Gunn and Peter Safran were going to take over and they kind of started telling them this is our plan, and then they changed their minds, but I feel like there was a change because it doesn't really make sense. Like I said, there has been a lot going on the past few days, and it's going to continue as we find out more about the upcoming reboot. And I think they just really destroyed any potential for the movies coming out next year, because they're going to feel like they don't mean anything moving forward. Yeah, you could still look forward to seeing certain characters on screen and stuff like that, but any hyper excitement that there was before, I think, is probably going to be dwindled, or disappear a lot, because we know they're just not going to really matter after Aquaman 2. But I wanted to go ahead and share those things on the channel because it has been a lot over the past couple of days, and I definitely want to stay updated on the channel. There's probably going to be more after I post this. It's just not going to stop. But I'm going to try my best to stay updated. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all the support on the channel. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.